They were, and what happened was that it was a typo. It didn't get put in. And that's why it's not there, why it resurfaced now, because they're outdated and they need to be done.
We had to carry them on.
Yeah, we carried them. We carried them because we got the bids for them and when they needed to be. And I don't know why it didn't get to you or why you didn't see it, but they were there.
Well, I didn't see it because it's not there.
I wonder, was it on the previous, do you have multiple years there? Was it on the previous one? It
I
may have
believe
been.
it was on the CIP plan that we got in May. The sheet was dated May. I don't recall that we got a CIP plan after that, because by
No,
that
that would have been the
point-
approved one in May
Right.
at the town meeting. So it was on there.
No, it was not.
It was not. Was
was
it on the
not.
prior years?
Prior
And then we
years.
never went and bought it. It was on the CIP, so therefore it would slip off as we're creating the new CIP, and we never actually punched it because we were just, we were cutting back and cutting
So
back.
how do we begin to make up for something like that, for that type of error? Do we pull it from somewhere else? Do we maybe not buy a new dump truck because we forgot about the air packs?
No, it's just part of the acquisition program. We're gonna go buy it and
Finance it.
and finance it.
So the finance dollars are in the budget.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's what the acquisition, the CIP plan you have. Of course, it's a living document, and we get this new budget in, and we get these cuts from the state, and we go, we can't buy it all. So the CIP, as much as it was a great plan, and we'd love to have all this stuff, at the end of by June 30th, we're not going to buy all that stuff.
Right, but you
We're just
understand what
not.
I'm saying, it just wasn't on the plan.
It wasn't. That wasn't on the plan. I think it was on the prior year's
So
plan,
when
and
the
it
town
wasn't.
goes to approve a CIP plan at the annual town meeting, and now we turn around and try to approve something that wasn't on that plan that they already approved.
Like I said, I think it was on the prior one, and we never bought it. And yes, we didn't move it forward. Mistakes happen.
So the money just keeps
Um,
flowing through,
it
same
was-
amount of money,
Right.
but it just didn't list.
It
the
still
tax.
has to go through
Yeah.
all this vetting, including a town meeting, in order to be approved. So it's not like we're backroom dealing.
No,
We're
no,
putting
no,
it right
I'm
out
not,
front.
I'm not
Yeah.
suggesting
Yeah.
that.
No, I
Mark.
know.
I'm
that.
not.
No,
I'm
I didn't
not.
mean
I'm
that
just
you
saying,
were.
It's my comfort level with approving something that wasn't on the CIP plan that the town approved at the annual budget meeting. So who am I to say, oh yeah, we forgot about that, let's just add it in after the fact? I mean, I
Okay.
don't feel comfortable doing that.
Okay.
So I'm looking for some kind of assurance that in your capital plan, that you'll make up for it elsewhere, that if the
We won't-
financing costs are in the budget already on the expense side, and we can absorb this omission without going into fund balance for additional financing or whatever, I'd be willing to support it, but
I can assure you, we won't be doing fund balance, and the many items on that CIP plan are not being purchased. Only the required necessity priority. So there's going to be plenty of money in that finance package.
I think right now we're talking about 2 Scotch air packs that are important for these firefighters' health and safety. And if anything gets cut from the list of things that we expend, it's not going to be these 2
It
items.
shouldn't be these. I
it's
agree
gonna
with
be
that.
that accounting software package again, I know it.
I hope so. A higher
No, I
intern
think-
for, anyway, different conversation for a different day. I think it's part of the tools that we have to start getting into is a better scrub of all those type of plans and long-term planning. I think we need to do that for this agenda item. I think, are there any more questions?
Not on air
No more
packs.
questions about air packs?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's have a conversation about some commodes.
The portable restrooms, as you know, we were awarded a $500,000 steep grant by the state of Connecticut. That included a plan when it was put together, and it's going back now. Paul Formica's administration put that application together. It was sat up at the state for at least a year. It got approved as I came into office, so about 3 years ago. But in that time, FEMA changed their regulations that you couldn't build structures in
Flood zone, or
It
title.
used to be an AE zone, which is the water just comes up and floods.
Velocity.
They've changed it into a wave velocity zone, which means there's 3-foot waves crashing on everything.
So everything would have to be built X number of feet up in the air. So you could build a second floor bathroom with ramps that go around the building to access it for handicap use, etc. The plan was either to scrap the whole plan, or, hey, we got a good idea, why don't we use the portable restroom, Plan B. And portable restrooms is what we've come up with. There are fantastic portable restrooms. They're built in big trailers. They can be as luxurious as you want them to be. They can be more industrial, which will be our type, which would be kind of...
Thanks.
That's the joke around town hall, is give them one copy
Thank you.
that they can actually see. So the STEEP grant does not allow you to buy portable restrooms, in this case, portable structures. So the $500,000 will be for the piping that has to go down all the way to Cheney Park, and the various pumping and grinder pumps that will be necessary, all the industrial utility. And also for the permanent structure that will be built down there, that will be the ramps and the platforms and the plumbing that will be unhooked. So if hurricanes come up the coast, we hitch it up and take it out. We'll also be taking it out after season. We're not going to make this a bathroom that's open after the fall season. We'll bring it out of Cheney Park area and we'll put it into storage. So to elongate the life of the trailer as well.
So they still need to be pumped.
No, it will be hooked up to sewer
We're gonna drain it into the sewer.
with a breakaway, not breakaway.
Oh, wait a
but,
minute. All right.
So we're gonna have pipes that will be there. We back in the trailer and we hook the sewer up to the
Steep
trailer.
grant is going to allow us to run water and sewer from Nyack Transmission all the way down into Cheney Park.
All right. I must be
That's a
having a
different-
brain
that's a
aneurysm
different-
because I thought we just said this is in a flood zone. So we can't.
We can't have a permanent structure, permanent building.
Oh, but we're still going to pipe it.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
we are going
I
to pipe
didn't
it.
get that.
We are. It's not going to be a porta potty that we spend almost $8,000 a year on porta potties down there. By the way, so we're going to be able to use the trailer to pull it out, but we'll have
It's like a
platforms
breakaway
and-
fitting, and you can pull
Yeah,
it away
yeah,
if you will.
unscrew it and off
We've-
it goes.
We've got a very detailed plan where we're building a concrete platform with full handicap accessibility to this platform with railings, 2 showers, and you're going to back this thing right up beside they have one of these over in Waterford. You back it right up alongside the concrete ramp. You take the tongue off. You jack up the 4 corners. You don't even know that this thing's a trailer when we're done. It's going to be an aluminum exterior. It's going to be beautiful. This is a full custom job.
No, I've seen nice ones at the New
Air
England
conditioning,
Dragway.
heating.
travelers.
So
Travelers
That's the wrong answer. We don't want the custom job. We want the one
they
that's...
don't make what we want in a non-custom job. It just
Okay.
doesn't happen.
Okay.
Because we want, when you go to a wedding, you see the nice one, they have faux wood. You know, this is an
Marble.
abrasive environment. We're going to have people that are covered with sand. Some of them have low social skills. You know, we're going to have an abrasive environment.
So, all right. So let me understand that. Is it all right if I?
Could you
Are you done with your presentation?
No, go
He
ahead.
hasn't even started, I don't think.
tell them about the 70-35?
Well, that's what I was.
And could you?
Oh,
70.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Told you I didn't want to do this. I'm very bad at it.
Oh, so, that's right. So, this is where you're going to really get me. We've been working, this was approved 3 years ago. So I've been working with one vendor for a trailer for 3 years now. But the only problem was the STEEP grant did not have enough money to move forward because we have to run these pipes down the state road. And when you run pipes down the state road, the state requires you to repave their whole road for them. So we curb to center line, which immediately negated the project because it cost too much money. So we've been patiently waiting until the state was going to repave 156. The state is going to repave 156 this coming fall. We just met with them last week.
Nice.
So now we can put our project in, put a temporary patch, and they will take care of the paving that they would normally require us to pay. So now all of a sudden this project became feasible. So we jumped back into with the trailer manufacturer, and we've been working with them. Right now, I've got a 95% price quote from one, and I'm looking at two others. There's a lot of manufacturers that make canned portable restroom trailers. They only make one style. Here it is. You get three. They won't do a custom job. We need a custom job because we want diamond plate on the inside for resilience. We want stainless steel partitions. The other thing is for safety reasons, we don't want any single room where somebody can go in and lock a door. You don't want somebody to be able to lock themselves in a room. You always want to be able to go in. There's a separate handicap stall. Allow entrance and exit of people so that in case somebody falls, gets hurt, you'll always be able to find somebody in there. That is not normal. That makes it a custom job immediately. Because normally what they love to do is just have three separate, male, handicap, female. That's what they like to do. So subsequently, everything is custom on these. So far, I've only found 3 companies that will do a custom job. I've got a 95% quote from one, and I'm waiting for quotes from 2. I don't think we're going to have to go sole source because I basically want, my basket needs 8 apples in it. And I'm going to ask all three vendors to go, I want these 8 apples. If they can't give me the 8 apples, then obviously they won't be able to provide the product we need. What I plan on doing is after I get all my quotes and get all my ducks in a row, I prepare a memo to the first selectman stating, this is what we got, this is what we got, this is what we got, this is my rationale, who I recommend we choose. I sign the document and I hand it to him, and it's his ultimate decision who we choose. If it's not a low bid situation. Normally, because this is $70,000, it would kick us straight into a bid. You can't really do a bid with this because you have to work with the vendors. You'd say, I want a proposal for this. They give you something back, and it's like, no, you need to change this, you need to change this, you need to change this, revise your price. I don't share my information with them, so basically they're giving me quotes until I get 3 quotes, which I think are good enough to base a decision on. That's when I write the memo stating I believe we should go with this vendor. Like I said, I think there's only 3 vendors that will make a custom trailer.
So let's say for one brief exciting moment that we don't want a custom trailer, we're going to take the 3 stalls, handicap, male, female.
Yes.
How much would that cost?
Probably 50.
Okay.
Then you're gonna be replacing it sooner than
That
there's really low quality.
So your custom trailer is going to be 35, and your standard trailer is going to be 50.
No. 30. There's two
70.
different pots. 35 from the
Acquisition.
Okay.
acquisition and 35 from CNRE.
Okay.
Because they already paid to pump it, so they're gonna move 35 into that. But the total cost of the unit that you're requesting is 70.
It's going to be just under 70.
But you're bringing 35 to the table.
Yes, and we'll use the full 35, and whatever my final comes in under 70, we'll subtract from the CNRE.
So I have a concern about, so I use the boardwalk and I'm down there. So at night, or not even night, those bathrooms are nasty.
The porta potties?
Yeah.
Of course.
So I'm just saying, if we buy these, right, I mean,
They'll be locked up.
yeah, that's where I'm going with that.
We would treat them similar to what we do at McCook and Hole in the Wall. We would lock them up at night, secure them at night. It would be the same operation.
Okay,
We would have
good.
as part of maintenance.
Because they're really not in good shape down there. I mean, often. I mean, it's not your fault, but I'm just saying it's, so I'm saying if we're gonna buy something, would we be able to do that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We would lock it and secure it just like we do our other.
These are all dead bolted, so that you cannot lock them from the inside. So that him or his staff have to walk up with a key, lock it from the outside. There won't even be a mechanism to lock from the inside.
All right, so we would lock them in the evening. We're gonna yank them out of there in the winter.
Yep.
Do we anticipate any maintenance on these? I mean, so what do
Just
we?
like any other of our other restroom facilities.
Which is, I have no idea what that entails. Ballpark me.
It would be our morning routine where we.
Give me a number. Give me a number. I don't care about people. How much do we anticipate yearly maintenance on these?
$1,000, $2,000 in staff.
Really? You can't even buy gum for that.
But-
But it's
These-
included in their current
toilet
staff.
paper.
There'd be no additional stuff.
Well, I just want to understand, once we buy them, it's another asset to maintain. I just want to understand what we're doing. I'm not saying no, I just want to look at this with what we're getting.
These come with the washdown package too. You can just walk in with the hose.
Right, and we'll have staff to do it.
Staff to do it, plus we'll have the Excel hand dryers instead of the paper goods, so that creates a lot less maintenance.
So we're gonna have power down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lights, these will be
Lights.
lit.
So
Air
now the steep
conditioning?
grant will go just for the, so before the steep grant was gonna pay for the whole thing, the facility and the piping. Now it's just gonna pay for the piping, and we have to pay for the facility because it's temporary.
It'll pay for everything there because it's a fixed asset,
Yeah.
except for the
Yeah.
mobile vehicle.
I see. Thank you.
Any other questions? Of course you don't.
I can forego my questions
I
if you
do
so
not
desire.
want you to forego your question. I
Okay.
would like you to share your knowledge.
Don't have knowledge, I have questions, just questions. The original design of the bathroom was to be in close proximity to the opening to Cheney Beach, correct?
So is this one.
And this one is too. But as you're entering that parking lot, what's the grade from the entrance point to where you go down to the dock? I mean, that's gotta be way more than 3 feet. So had we considered putting in a permanent installation on the front end of the parking lot? Maybe beachgoers would have to walk a little further, but
You have to go halfway up the hill to get to the right elevation. This is, the elevation's here now. It's really that high. You'd have to go,
I guess my question is, Bill, did we consider that?
We-
Did we consider
you would not-
relocating the permanent facility?
you would not believe how many things I've considered. We considered a well, on-site septic systems, drilling under the river to Waterford, just attaching pipes to the boardwalk, the wooden boardwalk going down there, running the pipes along the railroad tracks, running the pipes along the boardwalk, putting the restroom halfway, as you come down, you turn in, you start coming
Right,
down,
That's what she's
it would
saying.
have to be
Right.
halfway down there.
Right. So what was wrong with that plan?
Because the beachgoers are already probably walking 1,000 feet just to get to,
Why?
just
But
to
at
get
least
to
they
the.
have one.
It's, yeah, but there's something to be said for convenience when you're 1,000 feet out and you have to use a restroom.
And kids and the whole mother.
Well, what would
kid
that
thing.
save us?
Well, it's 35 grand
Probably, yeah,
because it would probably be covered under the steep grant.
It sounds like you spent
And we have a
35
better
grand
facility.
researching this trailer and.
I've been doing
just
this for
spend-
16 and a half
Yeah,
years.
So it's probably more than that. I wouldn't go there.
I've been on this, the first day I was here, Mr. Wayne Frazier told me, you are going to build me bathrooms.
Any other questions?
The
I see what
Fraser
you're saying.
bathrooms at
You see
Cheney
what I'm
Park.
saying?
Yes.
No, that's where we started. Before the meeting, that's kind of where I was at.
We are going to
But-
name them the Fraser bathrooms.
Did you have any questions, Jack?
I'm good.
Do you have any questions? No, I'm good. Okay. Did you get the answer you want, or did you get an answer that?
I got an answer. I mean, is it satisfactory? I mean, I don't know. I would be in favor of just getting a permanent facility a little farther away, but I guess that's not why we're here.
Well, how much farther away are we talking?
You're also losing parking spaces, and that's the other thing that I was, because I went through the same thought process you were at, is it seemed to me like, yes, it's a longer walk, but then also parking there is a pain.
We're gonna lose parking anyway when you put something in, right?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's gonna go over in the grass.
The Blackhawk building, there's a crushed stone area right by the Blackhawk building. It's going right there. We've already designed for this.
How
Unless
much does the
Amtrak lets them put us
actual,
up in the parking lot.
how much do the actual sewer pipes cost to install? Are we gonna have to return some of the steep money?
No, we,
So it's gonna cost the entire 500,000?
close, very close. We actually, before we paved that parking lot down there, we already ran the water and sewer lines under that parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Because we anticipated this eventually happening. That was 6 years ago. So this water and sewer lines are already going to the destination from the circle under the bridge.
With
Okay.
steep grants, you can you can contact the state and ask them to reapply the funds. We don't generally give them back. We say, oh, we have another need.
Yeah.
That happened all over downtown. We had some, 20,000 left over. Oh, can we go apply it to the Hope Street Municipal Parking Lot? So generally, when we get it, we don't give it back. And there's plenty of need. Thank you, Bill.
We're all acknowledged about trailers and commodes and custom diamond deck plated trailers.
Well, industrial use,
I know,
high
I know.
volume.
It's,
Yeah, yeah.
it is what it is. Okay. If that's the end of our conversation, do we have a motion?
So I will make a motion. Whereas the Board of Selectmen has determined that a true and very real need exists for the acquisition of vehicles and equipment described above presented at this meeting, be it resolved to approve an appropriation in the amount of $388,080.60 for the purpose of acquiring by way of lease or purchase various vehicles and equipment more particularly described in the town's fiscal year 2017-18 equipment acquisition plan as evidenced by one or more agreements for the acquisition of said vehicles by lease or purchase or a combination thereof for a total price of $369,400 plus interest at the rate of 1.98% per annum, payable in installments, annual installments of $77,616.12, which is $6,468.01 per month over a period of 5 years. The first selectman is authorized in the name and on behalf of the town to execute and deliver any documents that may be required in connection with said transactions.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any additional debate or conversations about the motion in front of us?
So I would just say going forward, I still would really like to see some information on bigger picture of the Scott air packs, because there's a lot of them, and I just want to have some information. I don't feel equipped to really make a decision on those. So I'm going to approve it this time, but going forward, I'm probably not going to unless I have more information.
I think the same could be said about the portable restrooms, is that I think if we saw several different vendors and several different prices, it may have made the decision easier. But based on the information we have in front of us, we'll make a decision.
True.
Any other? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. 5-0-0. Thank you. Building maintenance plan.
Just stay with, if I may, Mr. Chair. D is also going to require an action, which is your under new business D, the $35,000 for Cheney Park restrooms. Do you see that on your agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do.
That's that other $35,000 that's floating out there, and
So this is the money we're going to transfer from
yeah,
pumping to, from cleanup to,
it's. I just want to make sure he's catching up. Instead of appropriating the whole.
I just don't think I got that one.
here, I just gave you one.
Okay.
We're friends. Take it.
Instead of taking the $70,000 for the cost of the porta potties, we do have a town projects CNRE account, and we thought this would be an appropriate. We didn't want to drain the CNRE. I don't know how much is in there right now. My
Right.
wingman isn't here tonight. I think it's 80. It might have been able to cover it, but we thought going 50-50, we'll take some out of the town projects and appropriate the other half was the prudent way to go about it, and that's why you get a 35 and a 35 split on that.
So the $87,933 that's referenced on this appropriation request is before we take out the $35,000. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that again. I don't know where you are.
So I'm looking at the request for Board of Finance action for the $35K for the bathroom. And in tiny, tiny print, it says funds available, $87,933.
Oh, there it is.
You
Okay,
were,
there
you
you
were
go.
right, Mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So that's before the 35 comes out, correct?
correct.
So
Correct.
after that comes out, then we're left with
Right.
what,
52, 51.
Right.
Just so everybody's.
And we
clear
have a
on-
CNRE every year that, things come up in the course of running a town, and we put money into the CNRE for town projects, and this is obviously going to be a major town project, a major asset to our town.
So one comment I have, it says that this is consistent with the capital improvement plan, but the capital improvement plan didn't have temporary restrooms in it.
It had the project in it.
Right, but it
had
didn't
the-
have this
Correct.
money.
Correct. We,
So-
again, a
Yeah,
reiteration
no, I get
because
it.
of.
I get that. I'm not pushing back on
yeah,
it, but this
yeah.
sentence is incorrect then, right? It's not consistent with the capital improvement plan.
I don't know. Yeah. It's consistent that we've had it on there. We are changing the scope of the plan. We're changing the
Scope.
total. Yeah, the scope.
We don't have to read that into the record. We can cross that out as we make. the
Yeah,
motion.
I mean, right, because we don't have it in there.
That is true.
This project is in the capital improvement plan.
But not the
Not the
temporary
total amount.
restroom
Right.
piece.
This
Correct.
element of the project isn't, I guess, if we wanted to be very
Right.
clinical. Okay. Is there any other conversations that we would like to have about the special appropriations for $35,000 from the NRA plan for the Cincy Park trailers? Any other conversations?
No.
Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve a special appropriation and transfer in the amount of $35,000 from CNRE Fund 32, account 32-70-300-500-100, town project allocations, and establish an account titled Cheney Park Restrooms for partial funding for the purchase of a portable restroom trailer for Cheney Park.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Birmingham. Any other conversations about the motion in front of us?
Just that the last two require a town meeting. I don't think that was mentioned.
It's just pretty consistent with all these.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? So moved 500. Alrighty then, building maintenance plan. The plan.
It's been a long evening, so if I spend more than 30 seconds on this, hopefully, the board, Lisa Picarazzi, I believe, was one of the ones asked for something, and so we worked together with the Board of Ed, and it's in the same format. I'm not sure, I think you've gotten copies of a Board of Ed one, but I'm procuring it.
We
The
do?
town government, it's listing all, there's 5 sheets there. The 5th sheet is just probate court, which is actually really not town government. It's that, it's obviously funded through 4 towns, but each building is listed under all the components. And honestly, it really was helpful this year. And I've already put my SIP together, and I followed that SIP. And so that's going to be the working, living document that we work in, but it has, and hopefully when I work with the Board of Ed, we can see if there's window jobs or air handler jobs or just stuff like that. We can share stuff. So if the board has questions, it was asked of me, it's procured. I don't have any grand presentation except for the fact that it's a living document that you guys can see. And in the SIP meeting, I gave it to the first selectman and Anna. Our SIP requests are based on that document. And
What's a SIP?
I'm sorry?
What's a SIP?
Well, the CIP.
Oh, CIP. Gotcha. I
I'm
had
sorry, the
SIP.
SIP, well,
My
the
bad.
the CIP meeting. The one thing I'll say on there that is most critical, just so it stands out in huge bold letters, is the cooling tower that we've been putting CNRE money aside for the last 2 years to try to put in a bucket of money to pay is
Where is that?
$40,000. It's in there. It says $165,000.
What building?
I'm sorry, the community center, ELCC.
Last page?
It's actually on the first page.
Oh, on page 1.
The third
Communities.
item down, chiller.
Yeah?
The,
Oh, that's what you call on a cooling tower. Okay.
Yeah, cooling tower chiller. It's the same piece of equipment. Where's it listed, in 1819 on yours?
1718.
Yep. That is this fiscal,
Yeah.
No.
Flip it over. The pages are kind
I
of.
don't think they're all stapled in the same way.
That's maybe facing on the same way.
This was-
That's what you're referring to.
Yep.
So for me, that's the last page.
So it says
I know, page numbers are on the bottom. I got it.
Yeah.
Right, page numbers are on the bottom. Okay, so you're saying something about that being in 17, 18?
That's this fiscal year.
Yeah, it is.
So it's been 2 years now, we've been setting aside money, but with the hope that it was going to last longer than this year. Since, and this is what happens similar to the boiler repair, we've been told now by New England Mechanical that our HVAC contractor, which also is the same one the Board of Ed uses, that thing is, I used the word shot before, I'll try to come up, is beyond its useful life. And it really won't do the job next summer. However, with all these budget cuts from the state, we were actually, believe it or not, got more LoCIP money.
Saw that.
So if you add, but that won't come in until March 1st of 2018, so 4 months, 3.5 months from now. I've already worked with Anna, I'm working with Mr. Nickerson about escalating that project to the prime project that we were going to use to look for LoCIP funds. It's part of the CIP plan, it was on the plan, but it wasn't that it was going to be done this year, but it's on the plan. And now it has to be escalated. I'm going to use the $40,000 for the CNRE, the balance of $125 from the LoCIP, because we did get extra LoCIP. I'm going to reduce some of the LoCIP stuff like the transfer station or some other things that were needed, because we got to get that thing, we had to get that piece of equipment replaced. It's not efficient, it's losing water, it's leaking, it's
Right.
just,
You're going to get 3 bids, though, aren't you?
I am gonna.
Good, right answer.
We are going to get that, but I also have to expedite it, and it's just come to fruition after putting this stuff together. So that is the next task as we turn the new year. That will be number one priority, is get that done.
So, Joe, I just want to tell you, I think you did a great job on this. What a useful tool.
Thank you.
Really nice. We-
Just so I understand it, but the total for all of these departments is on page 4, correct?
The bottom of
Yeah.
page 4.
So like 380,000 for the year 17-18. That's the total of the chiller and the this and the that, right?
Correct.
That's the total of everything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But in the 17-18 is also 80,000 for boilers. It's already been funded. So this is the amount of the cost of the projects. How we actually fund the projects is not written on here. So even though that's a large amount of money, the 165 is already accounted for. I just explained to it. The 80,000 is already paid for. We got half of that too. So there's 245,000. I'd have to look at what the other item on there. I think it's the parking lots at the firehouse.
So, did we say the Board of Ed is working on this? Or are you?
Yeah, we submitted ours to Ann, it probably, I guess it's not even
No.
in the package.
Is it
It's still
similarly-
work in progress.
Right, but is it similarly
Yeah,
formatted?
exactly.
Oh, good.
Format.
Yeah, I actually got the Excel spreadsheet from the Board of Ed, so kudos to them.
Oh, good.
They gave it to me. I did a few tweaks of it, but it's because I wanted you guys to look as they do. I want you to look at the same. It doesn't matter if it's Board of Ed town. You're looking at the same document, and these are all town buildings, so you should be
Really
able to see a
nice.
seamless work.
Really nice job.
And consistency will make it easier to.
Right.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like to take a couple hours to debate the font of the calendar.
You're fun.
All right. Any questions about the calendar? Everybody understands what dates are? Okay. We'll move on.
I make a
have to-
motion to approve the 2018 calendar of meetings.
I
Second.
have a motion and a second. Any debate?
Just a little discussion. Again, I'm going to be missing probably 4 of these meetings this year. Maybe that's not a concern, and we can move forward with approving this, but I'm just putting that on, out there right away. I'll miss 4 of these.
Do you know which for?
I believe it's January, April, July, and October.
Okay. They're spread around enough that. we'll
Yeah,
have
it's
to
every
see.
quarter. It conflicts with another event.
All right, we're gonna have to try to manage through attendance.
January, April, August.
July and October.
July and October. I
Okay.
brought that up last year, but nobody was too concerned about it, so we can
No.
just.
All right, any other conversations on the calendar as presented? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained?
Mr. Chair, if I just remind the two new folks that these are just the regular meetings. There's a lot of special meetings that come up, especially it's March that we generally book all the departments to come in and talk to you about their budgets. So we can talk about figuring out that schedule with all vacations and all the things that happen in March. I think we already talked about
We did, yes.
conflict, or trying to align our schedules.
Correct.
And maybe in January, we can talk about, I know last year, the year before last, we talked about maybe we didn't need everybody to come in that had small little budgets, and we said that we'd talk about it next year, and now it's next year again next year, so maybe
But
in
we do
January we can
need to
talk
give,
about it.
sorry, we do need to give everybody the opportunity to present to us if they so desire.
Yes. I think anybody that wants to come in and talk about $1,000 budget has the right to say how
Has the
important $1,000
absolute right
budget
to be
is.
heard.
In the event that they want their first selectman or somebody else to present for them, I think that's the only debate that we would have. Okay, old business, purchasing policy. We had a meeting scheduled for the 29th of November that never actually got scheduled. Unfortunately, we didn't have everybody available. I don't like the fact that Peter's not with us anymore because he was a important member of that team. I think what I'm going to do, if it's inappropriate, is to email everybody the draft that I have. I probably should have brought it in tonight since it hasn't been moved on yet at the subcommittee. We haven't been having meetings, and we got to get past that. We got to get this thing
Might I make a
closed.
suggestion on that?
You might.
Might you consider asking if Peter's willing to continue to volunteer on that?
I was going to ask Peter if he would like to participate as a community member, just to be there. If he's not representing our board, he can at least be there and share his
I mean, it might
vast
not work
knowledge.
for him, but it certainly
fine.
may, so it would be
Yeah.
part of our
So-
move towards more of a volunteer
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
Sure,
But in the event that anybody else would like to participate in the purchasing subcommittee, so I'll send you guys all the draft. I'll have it attached to the meeting minutes for tonight, the draft purchasing policy.
Could you just mark it as draft? If you're going to send
Yes.
it out, be sure to mark it as draft,
Yes.
and it will not become public information. It's it's not FOIable if it's in draft form,
Okay.
which is probably a safe
Right
thing
now-
to
yeah,
do.
right now I have watermark across every page
Yeah,
saying
so-
draft.
Nice.
It's drafted,
So-
therefore it's not FOIable, which is kind of a cool thing since it's still a work in progress.
So it doesn't have to be attached to meeting minutes.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Then
That's
I will
important.
not include it in the meeting minutes. Okay, so, purchasing policy based on tonight's conversation, yeah, we should have some, something in there, we just said something that we want to add. A sole source. Yeah,
Right.
it's right there, sole source. So that's the only thing that right now it doesn't cover. Board of Ed permanent maintenance account. The last time I reported on that was the last meeting that we had. It was basically talking about the format that we saw tonight and how they were gonna create their water lines and such. So, I think Jeff thought that we were gonna look at it tonight, and we don't have it in front of us.
So I'm not sure that that's what that item is. I think you're talking about the 5-year plan or the long-range facilities plan. This was something I thought we kind of put to bed. Remember how we had the ad hoc meeting, well, it wasn't really ad hoc, but it was a meeting where we were talking about how we were gonna finance, like, the turf field and the pool.
But
And
they were gonna create the same kind of Excel file that was gonna have.
yeah, I know, but I don't think that's what that means. I agree with what you're saying, but I think this referred to whether or not, remember they had money left over? We met with the Board of Ed originally, and then we were worried about, we had discussions of whether or not it had to be spent a certain way. Tell me you're with me on this.
Yeah, I do, but
And I
I
think
thought
that's
the
dead.
output of that, it is dead, but I thought the output of that was gonna be an Excel file like this that
Yeah.
was gonna say,
All right.
here's our long-term
All right,
plans
so
and here's our short-term plans.
would you be open to renaming this, because I think it creates confusion, BOE, Long-Term Facilities Plan?
In the event that it's dead, in the event that we're not meeting with the Board of Ed anymore, renaming it, I don't care if it gets renamed or not.
Or just dropped,
But I
right?
think
Well, you
what
could
we-
drop
That-
it.
Because
Drop
that
it.
initiative is being dropped, correct?
Right.
The initiative to allow the Board of Education to roll over excess funds
Right.
into a permanent account going forward to be used for capital expenditures. That whole idea never was embraced by the Board of Education, correct?
And our,
Correct. It evolved into a planning tool like this that would have
Right.
their large,
Right.
long-term plans.
That was my understanding.
So yes, you could say that this is dropped and the Board of Ed is creating a new tool. As far as this board's concerned, we're done.
right.
So, in the future, if we are approached for an appropriation for a large expenditure, you know, we have to think very hard and clearly about that.
So what we should do is next time that the Board of Ed comes in, we should ask them to show us that plan.
Right, or find out due date out for it, but I'd like to keep it on the agenda. My opinion is I'd like to keep it on the agenda, but just rename it more accurately, what the effort is.
Right,
I would
because you
like
have a
to-
continuing concern, Lisa, correct, about how they are going to raise funds for these big,
Well, right, and
like
that's
the
what
turf field for
this
the-
plan is great. I want to
Yep.
see what they're going to do for
Yeah.
Board of Ed piece. I know they're working on it, but we don't have it
But
yet.
my point is, rather than have it under our old business, it
Mhm.
should be under the Board of Ed's report to us.
Okay,
Show us the plan.
I like it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Study of town wages and benefits.
That was Beth Hogan. That was Beth Hogan.
It's ongoing. Anna is compiling information. I think she hasn't put, I don't know how much effort she's put into that recently with all the other budget things we're working on. I'm beginning conversations with our unaffiliated leaders to discuss some changes and the creation of the contract in a newer form. I think everyone gets hired under a different hiring agreement, and we want to kind of collate that and bring that all together into one in an updated
I
form.
like
And we're kind of working on that. You know, they right now are on a pattern of getting step increases. We talk about steps, right? 2.5% every 2 years, plus the GWIs every year. And you know, I've already tamped that down. They haven't gotten steps for a couple of years, so no more. We're trying to move away from steps and more to just cost of living increases when appropriate.
Good.
Slowly, we'll be working toward the vacation sick carryover stuff. I think that's that will go out under probably a new contract for new hires. So what I want to do is bring the contract that we have now, and this has been my plan, is to kind of just make sure everybody's on the same page there. And then the new hires that come in will be under a different contract. Way back when I worked with Allstate, and I was hired under one contract. The people behind me got hired under a different contract. The people before me got hired under a very generous contract. So they just had different contracts depending on when you were hired. So eventually we will age out. A new generation of leaders will come through our town and under a different contract, which will not carry the burden of typical municipal government. And if they accept the jobs under those conditions, then they accept the terms,
Right.
right?
So as far as the work that Beth was doing, wasn't she looking at other towns and trying to get baselines as far as?
We have that.
Mhm.
We have that through CCM. Camille was looking at that, and I look at that, and we've done that through the Board of Selectmen. We did a study on that a couple of years back, just kind of lining up. Every town's different, though, and our public works director gets paid public works, but he's also water and sewer. And oh, by the way, he's now doing highway because we didn't hire Chuck. So every town has a different qualification. A library director is a library director.
I got that. Also, I'm trying to say
Maybe I
is
should have said that.
Beth had some task that she was trying to do. She had some thing that she was trying
Scope.
to do. So my question is,
I don't know what she was doing.
The
She
scope
was
that
trying
she.
to benchmark salaries
Right.
for
Yeah.
surrounding towns to make sure that the compensation that was awarded to our employees fall within a salary range that was
Right.
acceptable for our region.
And we've kind of done that at the Board of Selectmen level and found, if anything, we pay too little.
Okay. So we feel
so we don't
that-
like to bring that
okay.
up too much. Oh, yeah.
So we
Clear.
don't
Oh, yeah.
need
Go over to
somebody
Waterford.
new to continue
Go to
that
Stonington.
efforts.
Like towns. And just like the teacher pay
Okay.
that we discovered we were short. So, yeah, but
So in the future,
We can
under
publish
old
that.
business, B is going to be closed, so B will no longer be there. C will be closed, so C will no longer be there. Discussion of
Well,
audits.
may I ask, thanks for the effort that you have with the contract, that you're going through with the contracts and new employees and all that. I think that's great. I really do. That's something we've been talking about for years. I don't want to skim over that. It's a big effort. It takes a lot of negotiation. Is there some, I don't know if we can do this, but is there some deliverable that you'd be willing to, in
I
terms
think
of
when it's all
progress
said
on where
and
you are with that?
done, there'll be another contract coming out for June 30th or July 1st, and with that, hopefully there'll be a new document. Yes, I'll certainly bring that to you when it's all done.
All right.
We're kind of going through negotiating next year, but also trying to do this and change some terms at the same time. So it would definitely be reporting to you when it's done.
Right. So I was just going to say, Bill, would you be willing to include that on our old business just so we can?
If this is a report out by the first selectman, if this is his deliverable, then I would rather put a sub-bullet
Okay.
underneath the first selectman.
All right, that's fine.
Saying, as you give us our monthly report.
You know what?
So if it's not gonna be ready till
June.
February, March, whatever it is.
Later, yeah,
We
right.
can put it on the agenda for the March meeting to say, give us a status of the wage.
It'd be great if someone carried an index card.
I know,
index
that's why I
cards
put
with
them, I want
a
to put them
tickler
on.
file, we call
right,
that.
but
in the
that's why I was
business.
thinking, if we put it on here, we won't lose it.
But, you know,
I
but-
don't remember it.
That's right. 'cause
But on the
nothing's
agenda, it's-
going on. It's just like, okay, nothing's going on. Let's move on. I mean, there's no harm in putting it on the,
So,
as a bullet.
Or
different
have a
item.
tickler file like some other
Well, that's
commissions do that just bring it up and make sure we don't let things drop.
yeah,
I don't care how we do it.
The
I just
vice-
know I'm not going
vice
to
could do
remember it.
that.
okay. So we're gonna wanna talk about wages and structure. When do you think, March, April? When do you think you're gonna have something that you can?
April.
April, thank you. All right, audit schedule, we're gonna have to wait till our finance director's here for audit schedule, is that correct?
That's correct. I did sign one extension on that, and only one, and they're pretty confident they're going to be able to keep to the schedule beyond this one push-off date, and I don't know what that is, but
But the initial meeting has been held, correct? It
oh
usually
yeah,
happens-
they're working.
They are
they're working on it,
They
yes.
are working on it. So
They're-
when is so when you say that you've approved an extension?
A
what are-
deadline extension.
What are we looking at in terms of closure of the books?
I don't recall. I think it was a 1-month extension for whatever it was to a 30-day extension.
So I think it was, does anybody recall, was it January this year?
No, I don't remember. I'd have to-
If it was December, now it's January. If it was January, now it's February. But they got their marching orders from this commission last year of let's get it done on a more timely basis.
Right.
They heard that. Anna heard that. She's getting the information to them. They've been working on it. We're up in front of the line now, not at the end of the line. So we will be getting our information from them. I think they realized enough was enough. And they heard our frustration, right?
Well, I mean, it's.
Well, it was late several years in a row.
not
Some of
just
it, there
late, But I mean, it was open for a year.
it was open, right?
Over a year.
Yeah.
I mean-
Well, that was because we were recreating files. I think that was the one year we lost a server.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was awful. I mean,
So
But-
about those, so there's action items and recommendations that come out of the audit. And to my knowledge, we never go back and look at the status of those action items. And they've been repeat findings for the last 5 years. I can think of one of them off the top of my head is
Policies
the
and procedures.
policies and procedures.